Hello and welcome to the AWS Awesome Day online conference. My name is John Belsley and I am a Senior Technical Trainer at Amazon Web Services. At AWS, we have been running Awesome Days across the globe for a few years now, and we are very excited to bring you this year's Awesome Day online conference. Over the course of the day, you'll learn about the AWS platform, common use cases, and best practices for implementing our services. So why is it important to learn about AWS? As we see more customers moving to the cloud, we are also seeing increased demand in the market for skilled IT professionals who are capable of designing, deploying, and operating applications on AWS. We are hearing this echoed in the media, with the MD of global recruitment website TechnoJobs stating that the demand for cloud skills over the last couple of years has grown by about 20% as companies look to embrace a cloud computing strategy. Indeed.com, a job search service, recently stated that companies posting jobs related to an AWS career continue to grow at 50% compared to other IT jobs over the last year. IT professionals seeking these positions must understand the types of AWS skills and certifications companies want. This presents an enormous opportunity for IT professionals, and especially those that are looking to take the next step in their career. IT certifications are considered a gold standard for validating technical proficiency and one's ability to perform on the job. Obtaining certification is often a pathway for IT professionals to move into roles offering expanded responsibilities. Training that leads you toward earning IT certification is becoming more important as people look to grow their careers and customers build institutional knowledge and skills within their organizations. Today, you are taking the first step in your AWS training and certification journey. We'll be providing you with a step-by-step introduction to the core AWS services for compute, storage, database, and networking. My colleague and fellow technical trainer Karthik Chandy will explain key features and use cases, share best practices, and walk through technical demos. Based on the AWS Technical Essentials course, this Awesome Day online conference is one of the best ways for you to learn more about cloud computing and how to get started with the AWS cloud. We have a team of AWS solution architects and technical trainers on hand to answer your questions throughout the day. So please use the chat function to ask them all your technical questions. At AWS, we obsess over our customers. In fact, we created the Awesome Day program based on feedback from our customers. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to participate in this Awesome Day online conference, and would like to ensure that the event not just meets your expectations, but exceeds them. Please take a few minutes at the end of the event to complete the feedback form. It will help us to make future sessions of the Awesome Day online conference even better. If you complete all of the modules of this Awesome Day online conference, we'll present you with a certificate of attendance. This will be emailed to you within a few days, so look out for it in your inbox. We would love for you to share your thoughts of our Awesome Day online conference on your social media networks via #AwesomeDay. Our objectives today are to expose you to key AWS terminology and concepts, to introduce you to the browser-based AWS Management Console, and to examine the foundational AWS services, including Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, Elastic Load Balancing, and auto-scaling. Also, we'll provide you with an understanding of AWS security measures and related services such as our Identity and Access Management Service. We'll introduce our database services such as the Amazon Relational Database Service and Amazon DynamoDB. And finally, we'll explore AWS management tools such as Amazon CloudWatch and the AWS Trusted Advisor. In terms of module layout, or how we will structure this session, we will provide an introduction and brief history of AWS, and then we will explore foundational compute, network, and storage services. My colleague Karthik will then take the reins and safely guide you through our modules on security and the Identity and Access Management Service, database services, including the Relational Database Service and DynamoDB, management tools, including load balancing, auto-scaling, our monitoring service, and our configuration advisory service known as the AWS Trusted Advisor. Finally, a wrap-up to end the session. Let's begin our first module. Here, we will look at the history and fundamental elements of Amazon Web Services and how to navigate the AWS Management Console. This module also discusses the AWS global infrastructure and basic principles of deploying on AWS. By the end of this module, you'll be able to describe the history of AWS, recognize the AWS global infrastructure, and navigate the AWS Management Console. Amazon.com was incorporated as a company in 1994 by founder and CEO Jeff Bezos and was launched in 1995 as an online bookstore. Amazon.com is a multinational e-commerce company with its headquarters in Seattle, Washington. It is now the world's largest online retailer. Amazon has continued to grow and officially launched Amazon Web Services in 2006. More came after, including Amazon Publishing, Amazon Game Studios, Amazon Fresh, and devices such as the Amazon Kindle and the voice-activated Amazon Echo. After over a decade of building and running the highly scalable web application Amazon.com, the company had developed a core competency in operating massive scale technology infrastructure and data centers, and embarked on a much broader mission of serving a new customer segment, developers and businesses, with a platform of web services they can use to build sophisticated, scalable applications. Today, AWS is the fastest growing multi-billion-dollar enterprise IT vendor in the world. AWS, operating now for more than 11 years, is a collection of remote computing services called web services. These web services make up a cloud computing platform offered via the internet. We deliver web-based cloud services for storage, computing, networking, databases, and more. The AWS mission is to enable businesses and developers to use web services to build scalable and sophisticated applications. Web services is another name for what is now commonly referred to as the cloud. AWS is continually expanding its services to support virtually any cloud workload. We develop, iterate, and release products continuously, and the newest products are instantly available to customers. There is no need for customers to upgrade, deploy, or migrate. When a feature or enhancement is ready, we push it out. This approach also enables us to very rapidly introduce and iterate on new services. On this topic of rapid expansion of the AWS platform, as of May 1, 2017, AWS has launched 3,235 new services and updates to existing services. For enterprises, cloud computing with AWS can help IT increase innovation, agility, and resiliency, all while reducing cost. With AWS, you can build enterprise cloud solutions quickly and without upfront investment. The AWS free tier allows you to prototype virtually any application for free. Public sector customers can use our scalable and cost-effective cloud services to meet mandates, reduce costs, drive efficiencies, and accelerate innovation. For startups, AWS frees you to scale quickly, go to market faster, and control costs. AWS Activate is a free program with resources for startups to get the most out of AWS from day one. Cloud computing provides a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. AWS owns and maintains the network-connected hardware required for these application services, while you provision and use what you need via a web application. Trade capital expense for variable expense. Instead of investing heavily in data centers and servers before you know how you're going to use them, you can pay only when you consume computing resources and pay for only the amount you consume. Benefit from massive economies of scale. Using cloud computing, you can achieve a lower variable cost than you can get on your own. Because usage from hundreds of thousands of customers is aggregated in the cloud, AWS can achieve higher economies of scale, which translates into lower pay-as-you-go prices for customers. Stop guessing capacity. Eliminate guessing about your infrastructure capacity needs. When you make a capacity decision before deploying an application, you often end up either sitting on expensive, idle resources or dealing with limited capacity. With cloud computing, you access as much or as little as you need and scale up and down as required. Increase speed and agility. With cloud computing, new IT resources are only ever a click away, which means that you reduce the time it takes to make those resources available to your developers from weeks to just minutes. This results in a dramatic increase in agility for the organization because the cost and time it takes to experiment and develop is significantly lower. Stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers. Focus on projects that differentiate your business, not the infrastructure. Cloud computing lets you focus on your customers instead of on the heavy lifting of racking, stacking, powering, and cooling servers. Go global in minutes. Easily deploy your application in multiple regions around the world with just a few clicks. This means you can provide lower latency and a better experience for your customers simply and at minimal cost. Each year, research and advisory company Gartner publish a report titled Magic Quadrant for Cloud Infrastructure as a Service. In these reports, AWS is consistently placed as the leader in terms of both completeness of vision and ability to execute. Many of the AWS services and terminology have analogues in the traditional IT space. This side-by-side comparison shows how AWS products and services relate to a traditional IT infrastructure. We will explore some of these AWS services shown here on the right side of the slide in more detail later in this session. AWS Cloud Computing provides a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. AWS owns and maintains the hardware required for these application services, while you provision and use what you need. Let's move on now to explore some of the AWS Foundation and Platform services. As depicted in the slide, AWS Foundation services are categorized into groups, including compute, such as Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2, and AWS Lambda. Network, for example, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. Storage, for example, the Amazon Simple Storage Service. Security and identity services, and application services such as Amazon Workspaces, WorkDocs, and WorkMail. The AWS Platform services represent our broadest collection of services and are categorized, as you can see, from database services through to Internet of Things, or IoT, services. Together with our global infrastructure, the AWS Foundation and Platform services and our ready-to-use applications make it possible for our customers to create and consume an extremely broad and diverse range of workloads in the AWS cloud. I'd now like to share with you some information about the global infrastructure upon which the AWS platform of products and services operates. Firstly, AWS regions are geographic locations that are made up of multiple availability zones. Availability zones consist of data centers clustered in a region. Each availability zone is engineered to be isolated from failures in other availability zones. AWS is steadily expanding its global infrastructure to help customers achieve lower latency and higher throughput, and to ensure that your data resides only in the region that you specify. As you and all customers grow their businesses, AWS will continue to provide infrastructure that meets your global requirements. As of July 2017, AWS operates 44 availability zones within 16 geographic regions around the world, with 5 more regions coming online throughout this and next year. Please refer to the URL on the slide for the latest information on our global infrastructure. AWS products and services are available by region, so you may not see all regions available for a given service. You can run applications and workloads from a region to reduce latency to end users while avoiding the upfront expenses, long-term commitments, and scaling challenges associated with maintaining and operating a global infrastructure. Each AWS region is a separate geographic area that has multiple locations isolated from each other, known as availability zones. Each availability zone is isolated, but the availability zones in a region are network connected through multiple, high-speed, low-latency links. Where natural disasters or fault lines are a consideration, AWS isolates its availability zones so that they are not easily affected at the same time. For example, where earthquakes are a problem, AWS would not build 2 availability zones on the same seismic fault line. If you distribute your resources across multiple availability zones, you can design your application to operate with high availability. In fact, AWS highly recommends that you provision your compute resources across multiple availability zones. If you have multiple compute resources, you can run them across more than one availability zone to achieve added redundancy. If a single AZ has a problem, your assets in a second AZ are unaffected and available. To provide end users with lower latency, AWS uses a global network of 82 edge locations and 11 regional edge caches across 23 countries and 49 cities. These edge locations are used for services such as Amazon CloudFront for content delivery, Amazon Route 53 for DNS name resolution, the AWS Web Application Firewall Service, and AWS Shield for denial of service attack mitigation. Both the number of these edge locations and the services that operate from them will continue to increase in number in the future. Now that we have explored the AWS global infrastructure of regions, availability zones, and edge locations, let's take a look at the AWS Management Console. The AWS Management Console is the graphical user interface used to access your AWS account and your resources.